So let's get going. The whole idea here of this mentoring program is to show you a new way to make money to survive the first 2 years. This training that I do to my clients, I haven't heard that any other IC has come up with this idea. So that's something new. So we are going to build a sales machine for you. Networking, email marketing, social media marketing, and website. We use all those to drive clients to free public speaking. That's what I do. And then in the public speaking, on those sessions, your call to action is to call people into your hands-on trainings. So we will go through this process here and spend probably half of the time on that hands-on training part, because you need to be confident on how to do it so that you can deliver it yourself. Okay, of course, when we do this, the side effect of this is that we will also get clients who are not interested in a hands-on training, but they are the normal, typical clients that we want to do business and internet business analysis for them and make an offer and make a sale. In my practice here, I also use appointment setting, and that's the integrity leads. Has any of you considered using them?
Yes, I'm using them right now.
Yeah. How many appointments you've got?
I've gotten 20 appointments through them, and I've just ordered another 10.
And what's your overall experience, Kevin?
Well, I'm close to closing through those first 20, 3 sales on that. But it's also given me a lot of experience from doing IBAs and meeting with different clients. So it's been overall very positive.
Good. Paul, do you use them?
Yes, I'm using them. They have been a little bit slow to provide me with leads, but it's ramping up. So I have 2 appointments, and I'm going for a proposal with one of them next Friday. So we'll see.
Nice, nice. So Richard, that's something that you could consider. Do you know about that?
No, I've heard of them, but I've not investigated them yet.
Okay. So you better probably talk to Kevin and Paul to find more how that works.
So you're suggesting that I jump into that immediately?
I use it all the time as a one way of getting fairly quality leads, and for me they've been very good, like 2 a week maybe on average.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my sales machine. Myself, I'm from Finland, where I ran ExxonMobil's information technology for several years, and then I jumped to Finnish high-tech company Polar. And first I was the vice president of information technology. The CEO, who was my boss, told me that I need to build an infrastructure so that this small company in the middle of nowhere can be world leader in heart rate monitors. So I went to China and implemented factory systems. I came to USA and implemented sales systems and copied that in a number of other countries, put everything together so that the head office had a good online accounting and monitoring system for the whole corporation. 3 years later, I was in an airplane from JFK to Helsinki with the CEO and told him that, hey, actually, I've done what you hired me to do. What do you want me to do next? And he said that, what about moving to New York and becoming a CFO? So I became a CFO of the Americas operation in '99. And then I ran that operation with the other guy for 6 years. We grew the business from 27 to $80 million. And then there was significant changes in the company. The family, younger generation took over and changed the strategy, completely, and we didn't like it, so they fired everybody in the executive team in USA except me. I ran the company through the transition and then moved to Albuquerque to run a smaller software development business for them. And then 5 years ago, I started WSI. I always wanted to have my own business, but it took a long time to figure out what would I want to do. And I'm citizen of both USA and Finland, and what is relevant for this training and kind of qualification is that I've been in top 25 now pretty regularly in WSI sales.
That's great.
So, just a couple of slides reminding us why WSI is so great, so that we have a great background support. I use this slide on all my sales presentations. WSI brings the best global internet marketing practices to New Mexico. And then you probably have seen this, but this is another slide that I use always on my sales presentations. WSI is ranked #1 internet service business by that Entrepreneur magazine 10 years in a row. Google's largest global partner, 20 years in business, over 80 countries, 1,000 offices, and production centers all over the world. Here is our challenge. When you sell, only 3% of the potential clients, potential people that you meet, are ready to buy now. 7% are open to it, open to discussion. They may be easily converted, but 90% don't have digital marketing in their mind or think that I don't need it. I'm not interested. So I think that appointment setting, for example, address those top 10%. And those clients who accept a meeting, they're already on that category. But when we do networking, that is topic today, 90%, 9 out of the 10 of the people that you meet are not interested in our services at all. I just wanted to highlight that as a background for all of us when we meet people. Another challenge, scaling up by this Vern Harniss. He's also written a book called Mastering Rockefeller Habits. In his management training, companies are made of four parts: people, strategy, execution, and cash. And we will talk about those 3 green ones on this training. We try to stay cash flow positive by doing an innovative way of doing business here. We definitely talk about execution and how to get this done. So the biggest part of this training is the execution and getting cash for you so that you can survive. Goals of the program. Learn to make money with small clients. It's low-hanging fruit. There are a lot more potential clients who can spend $500 or $850 than there are clients who can spend $4,500 for a website or $1,500 a month for SEO. So we will learn how to find, sell, and deliver hands-on trainings to small clients. The benefits of this program are that you will survive the first 2-3 years until you have a good business going on. You learn the basics of the trade. The very basics is to understand how the websites are built, how the SEO works, how the conversion works on the website. What do you need to make to convert visitors to customers? And then while you do this, you build your reputation that will grow your business. Any comments?
No.
So we have three different parts of this in this program. One is how we build our presence, and the networking is the today's topic. And then next week, I will share my public speaking presentation decks, and we work through them together. And then sales skills. You already are doing IBAs and you are doing sales presentations, but I want to spend time on those anyway because they are the kind of a cornerstone of anything that you can do successful. And I have a sales presentation, and I've done this analysis for 5 years, and I've closed a lot of business with my presentation. So we just share those, and you can then adapt them to your use. Maybe you have some good ideas that I don't have that I can copy from you. And then these technical skills. You learn basics of WordPress, and you learn all you need to know about SEO to be able to help small clients to optimize their websites. So that's all the process that we will go through. The technical skills, we do need more time than just 2 hours at the end. We will spend every week time on this. So today I will show you the back end of a regular WordPress site. I will show you a WSI site that is built based on the template that Home Office gives, and which will be the basis of your websites. So you will, from now on, from today on, you can start working on your own websites. How does that sound to you? Are you interested in the IC website?
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, me too. That's terrific.
Yeah,
Very much.
yeah. So originally I was thinking that we'd just pick up a client's website and start working on that. But then 2 nights ago, I just woke up in the middle of the night and decided that this is a much better idea. It gives you value and then motivation as well. And think about if you can build up your own site, optimize it, go through the conversion on your own site, and you can go always back and test with your own site. If client has a question, you can go back and play with your own site and see how that works. That will give you a lot of confidence on working with the clients. Additional value here is that when you build the site yourself, and even if you decide that you don't want to build websites ever, you still have a better understanding on what is needed and involved when you ask an offer from the production center. You have better understanding how much they should be charging you and how many hours it potentially will take to get something done.
And at the end of the day, I think what we're really trying to create is to give you templates, sales presentation decks that you can adapt and use and hit the road running instead of trying to reinvent the wheel.
Sales, the public speaking decks that you can use right away, right on. The standard procedure for doing IPAs and how to find the pain that then we put in our sales presentation that the client will feel the pain and is ready to spend money.
And as far as your own websites are concerned, you're trying to sell a service to your clients and show them how they can rank. So you need to get your own site to rank first so that you're really selling something authentic and genuine, and you're proving that whatever you're selling them works.
Yeah. So in my case, my website, if you search SEO Albuquerque, I'm on the first page. And then if you search digital marketing services and mobile app company, stuff like that, many other keywords, I'm #1 here on my marketplace. And I can share you also the backlink building part that I've done to make that happen. So that's in the future. Now we go to actual networking. I would like to hear a comment from each of you, how comfortable you are in networking events? Do you like to do it, or is that something that you don't like to do?
For me personally, it is not something I enjoy doing. Yeah, I can't get much simpler than that. It's something I almost try to avoid.
Okay, that was Kevin.
Yes.
I like networking. They used to tell me that I need to not to talk so much. But the question for me is to try to do effective networking. So I have joined the Chamber of Commerce here, the Rotary Club, and now I'm going to join a professional referral organization in a very local here, similar to the BNI. And basically that's as much as I'm doing, as long as taking more accountability in other areas to have more visibility so that people can relate to me. But still I feel a little bit uneasy of selling. So I'm fine talking about in a friendly way, but I have a kind of difficulty to switch on a selling mode.
Okay, that's a good point. My approach is completely different. I don't sell in networking events at all, and we'll talk about that. Richard, what do you think?
Well, so far, I've actually enjoyed it because I've met a lot of interesting people, and I've been successful in the sense that when I sort of corner somebody, it builds into a fruitful conversation where we take it to the next step. So the only negative side of it is that you talk to one person, maybe two, and there's 30 other people.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get around. And what baffles me is all these different networking events I go to. They say it's about networking, but they don't network. They just kind of go into their own cliques of who they know.
Yes.
And they talk about the weather. So it's not like it has to. In my opinion, I almost felt like I should start a networking club that says we're going to work.
Yeah.
That's why the word work is in network, because we're going to sit here and make sure that if there's 7 people in the room, all 7 people have spoken to each other for more than 5 minutes instead of random. That's kind of my thing so far.
Okay. So let's see what I have in mind and then continue discussion. So typical questions about networking. How do I start a conversation with a stranger? Elevator pitch. What do I say to get them interested? How to answer the question, what do you do? Somebody asks, what do you do? What's the good answer for that? Okay, how to choose the networking event or group that you want to go? How often do you need to go to the networking events? And then, what is my call to action at the networking event? I think that the last one for me is by far the most important question. What am I supposed to do? What I wanting to get out of the networking events? So let's look at that. If I don't make any one-on-one appointments on a bigger networking event, I feel like I wasted my time. So the one-on-one could be either I made a sales in the sense that we are going to do an IBA for the client, or I invite them, let's go have a coffee, learn to know each other better. I talk a lot about this learning to know people better and spending time. Making friendships is the way to get networking to work for you. And this is a powerful way of me. I have already set up a free speaking date and time. And when I go to these networking events, I try to time and I plan this so that when I set up a time for a presentation at Hispano Chamber, for example, I look at my calendar, make sure that all the main and important networking events that I want to go are before my speaking event, so that I can tell as many people as possible, hey, come to listen. I have a free SEO seminar. I have a free seminar about how to use LinkedIn in sale. So I use in my small talk, I try to get this done. And then of course there's this third thing that you just call it business card and put them in your mailing list. I know that Canada has more strict rules than USA in whom you can put on your email list. I have shamelessly put everybody that gives me a business card. I don't give my business card out at all unless somebody asks for it. I don't know if you agree on that kind of a practice, but I decided several years ago that I'm not going to waste my business cards to people who are not interested in me at all. So it's very typical in a networking event that you say hi and what do you do, blah, 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 and then you swap business cards. And neither of you was interested at all. So I just decided not to do it. But my main goal is for this program, invite people to the free speaking events. So this is the main goal, thinking about what we are learning here. But of course, it's even better if we can make a direct sale. But it's not likely. It's much more likely that you invite people to free events. They are very more likely to be interested and seeing value. And in my events, I always have coffee and bagels available, so they get a free lunch as well.
Just to make a quick comment on collecting business cards, one of the things that I've learned is to make notes on the back of somebody's business card and just make a note of something we talked about so that I can remember when I get back home. And when I write to that person, I'll reiterate, we met at this event, we talked about this. Because sometimes you get home and you've got a bunch of business cards and you can't remember who's who in the zoo. You can't remember what you talked about, what was relevant. So just paying attention to what the people actually say to you. Mm. And Yuka's going to talk a little bit about listening in this workshop as well, which is really crucial for networking.
I think that's a great tip. For example, now you collect 10 business cards on an appointment, on a networking event, and one of them wants webscan, one wants to go lunch with you, and then 8 of the others want to come to your free speaking event. You definitely want to follow up with all of those and send them an email right away. And then when your speaking event is closing, you need to remind and send another email to those people, hey, and make it personal, so they will come on your event. If you don't have this follow-up part in your networking, you probably lose more than 50% of those people before your speaking engagement happens. So have you guys been doing follow-ups on your meetings at all, networking?
I have, like, constantly.
Yeah, you are a salesperson. You know how to do that. What about Paul and Kevin?
Yeah, I've only went to limited events, but I have followed up with the people.
Kevin, you mentioned that you don't like networking. Can I ask why?
I'm not much of a small chat sort of person. I like to get to the crux of why I'm there, and I do that in social settings as well as business settings. So I'm really almost in some ways uneasy in making casual conversation.
It's something that you can learn if you want to, and yeah, many business, like successful business leaders, actually are introverts who charge their batteries by being by themselves, but they must have learned the skills of small talk and behaving like an extrovert.
You actually have to fake it till you make it sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. So, how would you start a conversation with a stranger? Richard, what do you say?
Well, I like the idea that you gave me because I've been using it a lot, which is I say, wow, you look pretty important. What do you do?
Yeah.
And then there you go. So you gave me that line when I met you a few weeks ago, and I've been using that. A lot of times these events, they do take, like, they're robotic. You know, the robots, they come up and say, what's your name? What do you do? You know, what's your name? What do you do? So they kind of start it a lot for you. And then, like you said, it matters what you do with that introduction to keep it engaged.
So for Kevin and Paul, I started using this line like a couple of years ago. And usually it breaks the ice because it's a different question than typical questions. And people laugh and the conversation starts going naturally. I have had one exception, a local politician who looked at me and said, yes, I am. And then I laughed. He didn't.
Just a question. In the meetings I'm going here, it's very dressed down. So people are really, really informal. Very few people are in suits or anything like that. So nobody looks like very important person. You will use it anyway?
I use it for old grandma. Everybody wants to feel important, and they laugh even more.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just a great opening line people remember you.
Yeah.
Part of the network,
that's important.
Right, to make people to remember you. We have one gentleman in here in Albuquerque who has a funny, British style round black hat on his head, and it's just so that people would remember when he calls, like 2 weeks later when he picked your business card, he calls you. You remember the guy with the hat, and people say, "Yeah, I remember you."
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, don't start using anything stupid.
Yeah, in the convention we have the guy of the orange shoes, right, or red shoes.
Yes, there was the guy who used the orange shoes.
Yeah.
Likeable local or something like that. Yes, just for that same purpose. Yeah. Okay, elevator pitch. Do you guys know do you have your own elevator pitch?
Yes.
Do you know what that is?
Yep, your 30-second commercial.
30-second commercial. Are you ready to share yours?
I have a couple of them. It depends on the vibe.
What about Kevin? Do you have an elevator pitch? Or Paul?
I have one, but not too well rehearsed, and I keep evolving it. So basically, say, "Hi, I'm Paul Landau from WSI. We are the biggest network of internet marketers in the world, and we help small and medium business to find solutions, meaning generating leads and sales using online marketing." Which means so we can address your website needs, your search needs, your mobile, and your social. If you're interested, we can talk later in more detail.
Okay. I had a privilege of working with a guy who was a stand-up comedian. And as a stand-up comedian, they have a rule that if you don't capture the attention of the audience in the first 20 seconds, you are done. And one of the techniques that they use is that they start with the word imagine. So I made my elevator pitch imagine, starting with imagine. The other thing is that the elevators in Albuquerque are very short. They go like 2 or 3 floors because we don't have higher than that buildings here. So it needs to be short. I just choose one of our products to mention in my elevator pitch, because if you start repeating all your products that you sell, people don't remember them. They don't pay attention. So here is mine. Imagine what would happen to your business if Google would always show it number one to all your potential clients who are looking for your services. So I put the listener in this imagine mode. What would happen if I would always be number one? And then I say, I'm Jukka with WSI and I can make it happen. And the purpose is for them to start asking questions.
So if you notice, Yuka hasn't said anything about what he does specifically. He hasn't talked about any of the product range that he offers. But what he does with this line is just evoke the curiosity of the person listening to him. So they start asking those questions and they want more.
So it's very short and simple. It only highlights one product line, one service that we do, SEO. But I've got a lot of feedback in my networking that people remember this because they start imagining. They don't remember exactly what I say, but they remember that Jukka helps people to rank number one. Any comments?
I've used that one because you helped me with that one, and in some places it was a hit. It was a really great thing. A couple others, it was like people kind of like rolled their eyes, like, yeah, I've heard that before. But they didn't really say that. But it's hard to judge when I use that one. But I use it several times.
Yeah. Maybe you should have. I don't know. Maybe you should have a couple of options depending on the event. But this is the one that I mostly use. Sometimes we are in a situation that they specifically ask you to explain what the company name is and give you specific rules for how you need to introduce yourself. So then you follow the instructions. But yeah, feel free to use this if you feel comfortable with that.
Oh, yeah. That's the basic skill of a consultant, right? Cut and paste.
Cut and paste. Yeah, I like that.
Why reinvent anything?
Don't say that. Don't say that as your elevator pitch.
No. No, I learned it from one Accenture consultant.
Yeah.
You want to hear a funny one that I kind of did by accident? I was a little drunk.
Sure.
I was at a mixer and I had 3 drinks, two glasses of wine and 1 beer. So I was in my happy stage. And this one guy came up to me and he said, I wanted to talk to you, but I have to run. I do insurance. What do you do? And I said, well, he goes, hurry up. You got to tell me right away. And I said, do you have a website? He goes, yeah. And I said, well, I'm like a dating service for your business to your ideal customer.
Wow.
And he goes, really? I go, yeah, we match your profile to their profile so you get the customers you want instead of the ones that just come through your door.
I think I like that. That was
he goes, give me your card. Give me your card right away.
Actually, it's a very good one.
I like that.
I thought it was good too. I use it when the mood and the group seems to be okay with that, because sometimes they're more uptight than not. So it works when you're at like the afternoon ones, the evening mixers when people are drinking.
Yeah. It perfectly works for the same reasoning why I have this imagine here. You need to capture people's attention, and your dating service definitely does that.
And you need to read the audience too in terms of which elevator pitch is going to work and which isn't.
Right.
Like you've said that there are times when people are very uptight and there's times when people are relaxed. So maybe having 2 or 3 is useful. And you read the room, you get a feel of the people in the room first before you throw it at them.
Yes.
Right. And if you see it's working, you can elaborate. You can say, okay, who's used the dating site here? And nobody raises their hand. And then you say, well, you got to do your profile, and you do your best. You put your best photograph, your best everything about you, and then, you put in your ideal date or whatever you're looking for. And we do the same thing, with your business, and then what your customer be looking for, so you can match. And the reason why this idea came up to me, has anyone heard of a thing called a LinkedIn product called Opportunity?
Yes, I get invitations all the time.
Yeah, I that's how the idea kind of clicked in my head, because I would get emails saying, Richard, there's a match for you. I'm like, what? Yeah, there's a match. You're 78% match your profile of what you're looking for. And I just met somebody yesterday at the Miami Boat Show who responded to me.
Yeah.
And we met, and now I'm gonna do an IBA for him.
Excellent.
But I don't know what I'm doing yet. I don't know how to do it, because it's about boats and yachts, and I'll tell you later, Yuka.
Yeah. Okay.
He said, there's only one website for all yacht sales. And I said, well, that can't be right. Anyway, sorry.
I like your dating concept. I'm gonna steal that one. I'm gonna start using that after hours. Yeah. I'm just a dating service.
Right. For business.
Yeah, for businesses, yeah. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so what is the best answer to this question? What do you do? I have a strong opinion on this. The best answer is a short story. So somebody asks you, what do you do here in networking event? Everybody in Albuquerque, for example, knows a company called Bueno Foods. It's a, 50, 70 years old company that makes New Mexican food, chili products, tamales, burritos, stuff like that. So they happen to be my client now. So I can tell the person who asks me, what do you do? I tell, I help, as an example, I'm helping Bueno Foods to rank #1 in Google. That's much more powerful than start telling about that I own, like I have the other one here. I own New Mexico franchise of the world's largest internet marketing company, WSI. We bring the best global internet marketing practice to New Mexico. So people don't get warm to that. But if I can say that, hey, I'm working on this car shop website, and I'll got them rank on the page 1. I sometimes tell, depending on the audience, I have a Reiki healer lady who had $500 budget. She came to my hands-on training class, and her website ranks #1. If the other people are like single operator business owners that don't have much money, it's much better answer the story. It's much better answer than facts. Any comments on that? You guys have good stories to share.
It depends. I mean,
The thing is, people remember stories.
Hmm.
it just feels a little soon. I mean, I guess
You need to
like when the first thing they do, Richard, they see your sticker on your on your chest, on your sport coat. It says Richard, and they say, "So, Richard, what do you do?" And telling a story right away might not work. I don't know. I'm going to try it, but it's got to be short and sweet.
Yeah, again, it's an emotional connection rather than just facts.
Right. I love that idea in public speaking. It's like a great place to start a speech, to captivate.
Your public speaking should be all about stories. The more stories you have, the better reception you get from the audience. So in the beginning of your WSI experience, you don't have your own stories to tell, but I can tell you success stories that I've done, and you just copy them and tell that WSI did this, WSI did that. That's how I started. I just copied other WSI consultants' stories and told them as kind of my stories, and people listen and learn and believe if you have stories to tell.
And actually, you got, my prospect this morning was a dentist, and I presented the business case that was shown yesterday in the monthly call, and he was blown out. Actually, he was asking me to invest more money.
Yeah. So what kind of services did you sell him?
Everything. Pay search, SEO, and social. So the whole package.
Web SEO and social. Yeah. So you.
Yeah, he has a good website, needs some tweaking, but basically pay search, ASEO, and he asked me for Facebook and Twitter management as well as call recording.
Nice. Good job. So the part of this training in 7 weeks, there's going to be a lot of stories told. So put them somewhere so that you can remember some of them with your clients and you can tell. Like if I had, like in my case, if I'm with this like this simple small business owners, I may tell this Reiki healer story. If I am with the engineers and dressed up people that are uptight, I tell them that I made an application that calculates satellite temperatures in the orbit for a local rocket science company. Or I have other impressive stories like I built an life coaching application to a client in Switzerland. And this clientele is very exclusive. So my test user was Sebastian Vettel, who is 4-time world champion in Formula One. And out of the about 20 drivers, 12 of them last year used that application because they all are clients of my Hintsa client. So I have a lot of stories that I can tell to try to get them interested and impressed.
I've got an example of a client that I met 3 weeks ago. It's a cardiologist who specializes in vessel health. And I haven't closed that sale. I went and did a presentation. We scanned his website. We talked about his business model, things that he could do to enhance his practice. And in the conversation, one of the things that came up was for us to develop an app for him, for his patients who've had cardiac arrest, so they remember to take their medication. Yesterday, I did another presentation at another health practice. This guy was a psychiatrist, and they didn't have a website. But what I did is I used the presentation that I did with the first client as an example of what we could do for them. And he was very impressed because I sounded like I knew a lot about medicine, but it was based on my experience with presenting to another doctor. So although I hadn't closed the first client, I used that same material to engage another health practitioner as well. And that was really effective.
Great. Now I know your secret weapon. Gertrude there.
Since Gertrude came along, my sales has tenfolded.
You didn't put that in the presentation. How do we get?
We'll look at our presentations in the following lessons.
Right.
So, what kind of networking event you should go? Okay, remember your call to actions. You go to a networking event not to just swap business cards. You go there to either invite them to your free presentations or telling them that you have hands-on training classes that you can sign up. I've signed up, I don't know, good 20 clients at least from this networking events. People that I've never met before have signed up right there to my hands-on training classes because the price is right, and the small business owners, new startups, they all struggle on how to get the website right. And now you come on the place and tell, hey, I know how to do it, and I have this hands-on training. So it's very low-hanging fruit. remember that you don't go to the networking event just to swap cards. So I started the very first hands-on training class that I did was for BNI members. I had been in that BNI group for probably half a year and built trust and reputation just by being there and talking and being friendly with them. And then I said that, hey, I'm gonna do this. And the first one was free. I did it completely free. And I had, I think, 6 BNI members. I learned how to do this by, so for you, you could actually do the same tactics. For the first time that you deliver this, just do it for free so that you get the confidence, and now the clients don't expect as much. They are willing to see you learning while you do it. That would be, by the way, the good way of getting started.
And it also helps you get testimonials from people who've experienced working with you. I think getting testimonials from people who have seen you in action is one of the best ways to sell anything. And even if you do it for free, you ask them for referrals. You say to them, who do you know who might need my services? I remember one of Yuka's in-house training sessions. We met at a woman's house. Whose house was that?
Yeah, it was a women-only networking, very small networking event.
Very small. There were 5 or 6 people. And out of those 5 or 6, I think 4 came to the hands-on training. And one of those guys gave us one of the biggest clients we're working on now, the photographer, remember him?
Yeah, Kim. No, yeah.
So, you never know who those people know. One of the things that I've seen just shadowing, working with Yuka, is that he pays attention to every single person. And he asks them, please, tell other people about my service. And we've picked up some pretty big clients that way, from the small ones.
See, results of my very first hands-on training class for a BNI member. This Zia Building Maintenance had a website that didn't rank at all. And Craig, the owner, came to my hands-on classes and did what I told him to do. And look at now, Building Maintenance Albuquerque. His map listing dominates the page. His website is #1, and then his Yelp listings and others rank well as well. This is an example of my first completely free seminar for BNI members. And
so were you a member of BNI first, and then you did it? Okay, because they required that each member does a presentation, if I recall.
But that's only like 8-minute, 10-minute presentation in the BNI meeting. This is outside of BNI meeting, 2 hours.
Oh, I see.
4 or 5 of them, so that they learned how to do this. So now, think about the benefit for myself. I gave the lesson for free, and one of those students ranks #1. I use this as an example on every single sales presentations for 3 years now. And this is what I can do.
You got just a question. If you made SEO so simple that you can do it yourself, doesn't go against the speech that needs more a professional approach and not to be done by anybody, by the business owners?
So basic principles of SEO are very simple. But if it's a competitive field where other companies have done good SEO, then these actions that these owners do themselves don't make them rank very high. You still can sell them backlink building programs. So SEO has 2 parts. It has the keywords that you need to put on the website, and then if Google finds 2 websites that are both very well optimized, they have all the right keywords in the right places, Google still has to rank them. And the ranking is based on how many backlinks, links from elsewhere in the internet come to that website. And new websites don't have any backlinks. They need to be built somehow. So that's an option for selling further services. I have several clients who come to my hands-on class. They understand now what needs to be done. They understand the challenge, and then they hire me to do the actual work and keep on paying me month after month. So let's go back here. A few more slides to go before we start doing WordPress. So I was member of BNI, but only for a year. And I'm member of a Chamber of Commerce. The very biggest client that I have who has spent over $200,000 on my services over the last 2.5 years, I got by doing a public speaking for a Green Chamber of Commerce that had 12 or 15 members. One of those members happened to be owner of an IT company who was working at Kinesio Taping Company. Kinesio Taping is those tapes, colorful tapes that athletes have. When you look at on the TV Olympics, and all athletes have some kind of a tapes on them. Those tapes are made by an Albuquerque-based company. It's a big global corporation. And I got them as my client by doing a public speaking presentation about SEO for a very small group of people. So I'm lucky here in Albuquerque. We have a couple of networking groups that you probably don't have. This Trusted Advisors is a networking group that do networking professionally. So they have training on networking, how to do networking, and they have approved procedures. What do you do when you meet face to face? And you never need to worry about who's going to pay for the lunch because it's always split. Everybody knows that. So that has been a great source for referrals for me. I had 2 referrals this week from that group. Executive Association of Greater Albuquerque is a men-only group that accepts 1 person from each industry, each vertical. So I am the only digital marketing company in the group of about 100 business owners, and many of these businesses are $10, $30 million businesses. So I'm expecting a great results out of that network.
Are you still a member?
Yeah, I am a member. I just got there.
And is this like more specific to Albuquerque, or are these associations everywhere? Like
no, they are not. Trusted Advisors is only in Albuquerque and in Colorado, and Executive Association is Albuquerque only.
Okay, because I went to one that was called Executive Association. I was wondering if it's the same, or if it's just a coincidence.
Yeah. So ideally, in the networking event, it would be great if you can introduce yourself to everybody using your Imagine or I'm a dating company. I like that dating. I'm going to work on that. And then you have a group setting where you tell everybody who you are, and then you have a chance to talk to other people one-to-one afterwards. So how often do you need to do networking? How successful you want to be? This is what I've done. For the last 2 years, at least 2 years, I have had 5 networking or one-to-one meetings every single week. I haven't skipped a week. And that has brought me to top 25 in WSI. I set up a goal. I have my calendar has color coding, so all this networking and one-to-ones are green color. So it's easy for me to see in the Google Calendar how many I have. So that's that. Let's see what else.
How many one-on-ones do you get when you go to a typical BNI or this new executive association, et cetera? How many do you walk away scheduling?
Okay, from the EAGA on a regular typical meeting, out of those, there's about maybe 60 or 70 people in each meeting. I will get out with probably one or two.
Oh, okay,
But
that's kind of what I get.
it meets every week, so I have 4 to 8 meetings one-to-one with them. And my plan is within a year, in the first year, I will make sure that I meet every single one face-to-face at least once. I did the same with the Trusted Advisor Network. That was 150 people in that group. I just told them, everybody applaud that I'm going to meet every single one of you one-to-one during this year.
How did you find these associations? Because I've been looking, and it's baffling. There's so many things out there, and it's hard to figure out which ones are strong or not.
I just been talking to people and asking. There's one more that I'm actually officially sponsor now in Albuquerque, and it's called First Tuesdays. It's a free networking event that Action Code, myself, and a couple of other companies. Just we come to a hotel bar. The bar is open, and from 4:30 to 6:30, the first Tuesday of the month, and I put some of my advertising. I advertise in my LinkedIn and send an email blast to 2,000 people, and we got it full, completely full last Tuesday. And we advertise that is for real business owners. We don't want network marketers to be there, but business owners.
And how many is full? How many people is that?
Maybe in that space, 150.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
I have a very solid reputation now in Albuquerque. A lot of businesses know me. So I'm looking to be very successful in the coming years.
So
one of the services we are thinking of offering now that you've asked is if you give us your zip code, we can do research around all the associations, all the networking groups in your area. So if you could email that to us, maybe by next week we'll have a list that can help you qualify which one of those associations and meeting groups in your area are relevant.
That's great. Okay, I'll text it right now.
I have no idea where Gertrude's going to pull that information, but
okay, Gertrude, we are typing it.
Awesome.
Yeah, we also have access to the University of New Mexico collects all networking events, whatever they have, and the professor who does that happens to be my friend through this networking, and he just last week sent us like 150 different groups. There's no time to go to all of them. Some of them are good, some are not so good. So you need to do trial and error a little bit. Building trust. The most important thing, if you want to get referrals, is to build trust. So I just put a few bullet points there. How do you do that? You do what you say you are going to do. You keep confidence. You don't go around telling about other people. If they tell you something, you don't go and spread it. You are sensitive to those in need, help them. You give respect to everybody. Specifically respect their time. And if you ask help, if you really want to build trust and you ask help, people who help you will trust you more than people that you help. I wonder if we have one more slide, I think. Keep notes. Gertrude already mentioned that you should keep notes. This is my biggest regret of the 5 years is that I don't have solid notes on every client that I met. I now have hundreds of IPAs done, and I have all of them saved and organized, but I don't have actual notes of the meetings in the past. That how did that meeting go? Why did this client did not take the, and when should I follow up, and so on. So part of your sales machine, a very important part is that you start making notes of every visit, even if it's not successful. And then you can go back to that client later on, remember what the discussion was, and then start from there.
Can I give a tip? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Please continue.
Okay, I'm going. So from the taking notes point of view, the current CRM system has the ability for you to put your leads and take notes and all that. Would you suggest to do that or to keep more for us as a physical file?
What I do is if I go to a networking event and I've written notes on the back of business cards, I place them in my scanner, and I scan the front, scan the back, and file that away. The CRM system is fantastic, especially if you're going to build a team that will help you with sales. So for example, since I joined Yuka, he had a lot of information already documented, and that was the missing piece. So I'm picking up on some of the clients that he has met in the past. They've already met him, they've experienced him, they expressed an interest and agreed to have a meeting with him. So we're now going back to people he's already met and trying to regenerate those conversations and relationships. So definitely use the CRM system, particularly if you're going to build your team and you're not doing the sales on your own. You need to build a system that's robust, that can expand, that somebody else can pick up.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Gertrude, because you added to something that I didn't think about. One of those things I saw someone doing was they take someone's card, they take out their pen, and then they write all over it. And I thought that was interesting because that's how you remember people and what you talked about, etc. One of the things I've been doing in business all my career, also it's similar to that, is I'm religious about plugging everything in my calendar, you know, from things to do to meetings. So if I'm going, like on Monday I have a one-on-one in first thing in the morning, and with this person who's computer savvy, he won't be offended if I'm typing in my phone. But what I do is I type it right in the notes section of the meeting itself. So when you need to go back to it, you know, especially with an iPhone, you can search your whole iPhone and say, and remember anything about the meeting, even the location or whatever, and it'll show you in that global search that you have in your machine, in your iPhone, and it'll show you, oh, you had an appointment with so-and-so, and you go, oh, good, and you click on it, and then all your notes are there for that date and the location. It all comes back to you much better. So that note-taking concept is extremely important. I try to do that even right after, when it's fresh in my mind, right after a networking event.
You have to do it while it's fresh. And even taking notes of small personal things they tell you about themselves. Like, I pay attention if they mention a child. I pay attention if they mention a dog or a cat.
Right.
When I get back to them, I mention that in my conversation, and it blows people away. They think you actually remembered, but I've been taking really good notes. And it shows that you're listening. It shows that you're interested in them as a person. And that really converts your sales really well.
Okay, let's go to one-on-one meetings. There's 90-10 rule. It's all about the other person. Do not dominate the conversation. Listen. This may be hard for you to, if you are thinking that you need to sell on this one-on-one meeting. We are not talking about now sales presentation. We are talking about a coffee meeting or lunch. You listen and you make notes, like Gertrude said, you are building trust. If you can't sell anything unless there is trust, and the basic rule of communication between people is that if somebody is talking and telling and you are actively listening, the talker and teller starts liking you. It's a basic principle.
Yes.
So it's not 50-50. You are supposed to ask questions and make notes. Then there are 4 types of connections. One is the ideal is the prospect that you can start talking about IPA. The other one that is maybe even more important is a referral source. Somebody who has a lot of connections and can become a referral source for you. Very, very valuable. I have an old gentleman who is in a commercial real estate. I meet him at least once a month. He's kind of a mentor to me in many ways, but he refers clients to me regularly. And he's commercial real estate. We just got a concept that I went to one of these meetings with him, one-on-one meeting for lunch with him, and he had invited another business owner there just to introduce me, with no plans of having business between anybody of us. But a few months later, this business owner's son owns a con store, and now that con store is our SEO client.
And giving your time to, one of the things I've noticed that Yuka does is nonprofits. He tries to help in the community wherever he can. And he's helped a few nonprofits rank fairly high. And he puts in a lot of time in doing this. And out of those nonprofit CEOs, they know a lot of people who then give referrals as well. So sometimes you can give off your time to help the community. It comes back.
Yeah, I have even a concept in my mind that for non-profits, I will check the board and see that Inka is coming in. Check the board, and if the board is powerful, connected people, then I may give the service for the non-profit for free, with a caveat that every board member has to organize me 10 one-on-one meetings with the network. Think about that as a concept, potential concept.